Kane and Tim are doing a live reaction unlisted for the multiplex admins. So I have that in the corner of my screen because I want to see how pissed they get.
Also, everyone knows that now.
And we're live.
And we are live.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Kaden. Hi, Tim. But anyway, we're here with another episode of Rankum, and as we said on late night and all that, sad news last week. Stanley passed, so I thought, well, we'll do MCU movies to honor him. And I've got a good panel here. Starting from my far left, we've got Brooklyn Vale. Brooklyn, how's it going?
It is dandy. It is fucking freezing here in Canada, on the east side of Canada. But I am excited. I am excited to talk MCU movies. Although I do fear for my life though, because I'm sure that I have some unpopular opinions. So I do have the house on security watch for the next 24 hours.
And also next up, he's been away for a long time because he was scared off, but he's back as Cody. Cody, how's it going?
Well, the show was good. I appreciated being on, but then you let miscreants and awful people on here. Matt and Sandy, I appreciate them.
Okay, thank
Brooklyn
you.
and whatever's growing on Caleb's mouth. So gets to talk about MCU movies. I have some hot takes too, but again, just like everybody knows in Rankum, my choices are correct. Everybody else is wrong.
And next up is Matt. Matt, how's it going?
Good. Why am I here? I mean, like, I love how Brooklyn and Cody are like, well, we got some hot takes. I'm like, people might want to kill me after this program is over. These people live streaming, I don't know who they are, and that's going to make it easier for them to kill me after tonight. Send help. But no, it's good to be here. I'm just more here to plug next week's Rankum. That's more why I'm here. But I'm not pulling an Abe or a Rosica. I'm here for the whole show to plug next week.
And next up is Caleb. Caleb, how's it going?
I'm going to talk like this so that you don't have to see the thing on my lip because Cody's making me feel super self-conscious about it. No. Piss off,
Caleb
Cody. I don't care. I don't care. They're gonna be two grumpy old men. I'm not old, but I feel old. Fight me. Am I winning the WWE promo war yet? No, this is gonna be fun. I love 15 movies in this franchise, and there are 5 that I don't love, but they're okay. What are those 5? We're gonna find out.
Okay.
And last but not least, we've got Sandy. Sandy, how's it going?
It's going good. I've decided to do a new tactic on these rankums. I'm gonna go to Cody every single time it's my turn and say, Cody, what's the right answer? So I can just say it so it gets on the list. That's all I'm gonna do. So
that's a good way to do it. So
we're understanding how this works.
So how the show works is we do roundtable. We each nominate a movie, and then everyone votes. If it gets 4 votes, then it makes the list. If it gets a tied vote, or actually, you know what I'll do is the person. Okay. The person who nominates the movie, their vote doesn't matter, and it's the other 5 which does it, just because we've got an even number of people
Damn you,
on here.
Parker.
Can you explain saving to me for this with more than 3 people? Because last week I was not very acclimated to that. How does saving work now?
I'm glad you asked, because I was going to get to that.
Thank God.
But yeah, no, basically if it's if it gets 3 votes and there's 3 no votes and then 2 yes votes, then the person who nominated it can save it, and then it sort of flips it, so it becomes 3 yeses and 2 nos, if that is a way it makes some sort of sense.
Yeah. I guess.
Anyway, it's time to start, and to kick it off, I'm going to throw it over to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, what's the first movie that you're going to nominate?
Thank you, Malcolm. I will try. I will try to send you either a Christmas card or an e-card this year.
Cody.
That's very funny, Cody. But we need to laugh for something like that. Anyways, so my first nomination is going to be the movie that started it all off. That would be 2008's Iron Man, directed by Jon Favreau. As you all know, we don't get this franchise without the success of this movie. Tony Stark Robert Downey Jr. has a revitalizing role in Tony Stark. There are great roles: Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane, C. Pepper Potts, Phil Colt. Clark Gregg steals all his scenes. Phil Coulson. Unfortunately, Terrence Howard couldn't stay along for the ride. As what's his name, War Machine. You know, comic book trivia. But yeah, Iron Man is the first one up on the docket.
So Iron Man is on the table. Cody, what do you say?
Well, he almost just switched it to a no vote because I hate the definition of, well, if we didn't get this, we wouldn't got that. And like, yes, it may be true, but that doesn't make it a good movie. But maybe it doesn't count it. I'm not sure. But yeah, the movie I enjoy from start to finish. I don't care what most people say. I think this is the best MCU movie origin story by far. Tony's they're okay if we're talking solo standalones, I'd say this is the best. But this is just thrust us into the universe. We saw everything, how it worked, and how great Robert Downey Jr. has been. He's been a linchpin in the entire MCU, and he's brought it since day one, and he still continues. And I even think the villain's better than most MCU villains, even though you don't like him, but there's an inner struggle that I like to see in there, so I would give it a yes.
And Matt, Iron Man's on the table. What do you say?
Listen, I'm not a fan of this movie. I'm a fan of the first half of this movie when he's being held in the sort of like terrorist camp, and he has to build the suit out of just materials he finds. Once he gets back and the real plot, I guess you could say, begins, I'm just bored. I love Jeff Bridges to pieces, Big Lebowski, Tron, but I don't care about Obadiah Stane. I don't care about him. He has an arc reactor in his chest. Why can't we build one? And it's so just... Pepper and Tony are okay, but they get better in the coming MCU stuff. It doesn't even matter what I say because I know what everyone else. I'm voting no because personally, I don't really like this movie. I think everyone drinks the Kool-Aid because of what Brooklyn says, which is I think too many times people are like, oh, well, it started the whole MCU. That means it's a fantastic movie. It's like, no, it's not. Really starting off strong with viewers. I know.
I'm going to throw it over to Caleb. Caleb, is it a yes or no to Iron Man?
Yes, because it is a really fun, like Cody said, the best origin story in the MCU for a solo character. And I can watch this movie all the time and enjoy it. This movie makes me need to go get a Burger King burger every time, and I think that's just kind of a charming part of it. I love the movie. I love everything about the movie. So yes.
You tell a mustache. You tell.
And Sandy, what do you say about the first Iron Man?
It's a yes for me. I love the first Iron Man. I think it's great for all the reasons everybody else has said. Plus, you get you just like Iron Man was on nobody's radar when we were talking superheroes, and to bring that out as your first one, and now for him to have been the linchpin for everything. That says something for the character, because this could have been a bad movie and we wouldn't have got another movie except for the Hulk, probably because it came out a couple months later, or the other way around. But you know what? It's a great movie. I love it. I watch it as many times as I can see it. So it's a yes for me.
And with that, Iron Man is the first one to make the list. My vote wouldn't have mattered. I actually would have said no, because it's just outside of my personal top 12.
Malcolm, give me that high five.
But I do like with this one. Like I've liked all the MCU movies anyway, so it's like it's really hard for me to say no to some of them. But yes, because my vote didn't matter, I'm going to go next. And the first one I'm going to bring up is a massive one that's got a huge cast of characters, and I'm bringing up Avengers Infinity War. This is one of the most recent ones, but this is one that I've enjoyed from start to finish, and the cliffhanger sort of leaves it open to sort of wonder what's going to happen next. And I believe it is the first time they've had a true cliffhanger before the post-credit scenes. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see how it concludes. Sandy, what do you say to Infinity War?
It's 100% on my list. It's a yes for me. For none of the reasons you said, it is 100% one of the best superhero movies that's ever been out, has ever been released. The way that the Russos were able to give everybody, even a small little bit, was able to give everybody something to do for the most part. Like if it doesn't grab you emotionally, then there's something tragically wrong. But it's 100% yes for me.
And Caleb, what do you say to Infinity War?
Infinity War is one of those weird movies that when I watch it, it flies by despite being a 2.5-hour movie. And there is so much to take away from it on each viewing. The way that every shot is framed, something is being told to you in every single frame of the movie. The way that it's colored, the way that the costumes, the way that the visual effects are there, the way that this line is delivered this way might respond to it in a different way the second time. I love Infinity War, and it took 3 viewings for it to climb to number 1. Because the first time I was like, I don't know if I want to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm skeptical. 2 viewings later, I'm like, nope, this is amazing. And I love Infinity War. It's such an incredible feat, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
Matt, Infinity War is on the table. What do you say?
No, this I really enjoy this film. I give the Russos credit for really kind of having to do a kind of a season finale in a sense, with like everyone has to kind of get a moment. And they really balanced it out well. There are some characters that sadly don't get as much time as they should, but I think that having been someone who has been following, even though I might not be the biggest fan of this film series, I like the fact that it doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't explain cameos that, like Red Skull popping back up. They didn't sit there and go, Red Skull, we haven't seen you since the first Avenger. It's like, no, you either know who this guy is or you don't. And I really enjoyed that. And I think that Rocket Raccoon and Thor playing off each other was amazing. But my favorite moment out of the entire movie is still, it's either Bring Me Thanos or it's when Peter is talking to Thor and he's like trying to make his voice deeper. And they're like, Will, why are you making your voice deeper? I'm not doing that. This is just how I always talk. So yeah, this gets a yes for me.
And Infinity War makes the list. Cody, your vote wouldn't have mattered. What would you have said?
This is the thing where in a year, this movie can go down on my list, because if they don't let some things stick, or if they backtrack on some of the crucial things that they did, this movie can go lower on my list. But right now, as it stands, it's pretty high. So I would say yes.
And Brooklyn, what would have you said on Infinity War?
Although I'm not the biggest fan of how it ended and the post-credit scene, I'm superly duperly not a huge fan of. You can check that out on a movie battleground match that I had with RJ, where I go into full detail as to why I hate it. I would have given it a yes. Everything else, it lives up to the hype. Josh Brolin as Thanos is one of the greatest villains, and even though that they direct a lot of the movie towards Thanos and sort of his origin, it works out nicely and it balances this huge cast.
Right, and with that, Infinity was definitive on the list. And Cody, your vote didn't matter last time. What are you going to nominate next?
All right, I'm going to nominate this. Again, this is I honestly think it's not going to be hard to come up with the 12 personally. But what I think is going to be is where you rank them. I think that's where the secret of what this episode is going to be. But some people can have some surprise picks, so we'll see. But my next one is a no-brainer. I'm doing Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is the one movie that took me by surprise. It's the one movie that the music plays as a character in this movie, pretty much. And they picked like one of the best soundtracks of all time. I think everybody says it is the biggest risk that Marvel ever took on characters, and they knocked it right out of the park. Perfect casting, perfect delivery. The villain's weak, but pretty much what you can say of that is every MCU villain besides Thanos has moments that are not great. So I have to give Guardians of the Galaxy because I think it has the most rewatchability for me.
Guardians of the Galaxy is on the table. Brooklyn, what do you say?
I'm really torn because I love this movie, but Cody nominated it, so I'm trying to find reasons as to why I don't. He did say that he enjoys the soundtrack, which just means that he has his nostalgia goggles on. We'll say yes.
Nostalgia goggles on. I wasn't
because
even born in that time.
Because it's like, oh, it's songs from the past. It's songs from the past. It's a good soundtrack. There's songs I can sing along to.
That shows so much about Quinn. You would know nothing about movies. Why don't you just stick to music, okay, buddy? No nostalgia goggles. You know nothing. The character is literally driven by the music because it reminds him of his mother, you moron, that he listened to with her. But no. It's all blah, blah, blah. Go listen to Whiplash and smack your head into a cymbal. Good Lord.
Oh, God.
I just want to let Cody remember. Like, I know he has his phone up in his ear. Robert Parker, he shouldn't have to coach you in this list. But I'll get my vote out of the way so that other people can talk. Yes, this makes it a list.
Win. Oh wait, you cost him a win. Okay, congrats.
Oh my God! Old jokes are old. Old jokes are old.
Mom and Dad are funny.
Yeah. Anyway, Matt,
get a real job.
What do you say to Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh God, this is a really tough one because there's another movie fairly similar to this that is higher on my list. But then again, the likelihood of that making this list is very, very slim. So I guess I'll say yes because it's a great movie. I enjoy the soundtrack as well, and Peter Quill is my favorite character in the MCU, so I'll say yes.
Caleb, what do you say to Guardians of the Galaxy?
Hell freaking yeah. The Guardians of the Galaxy for a long time was my number one MCU movie because I love the chemistry. I love the cast together. And of course, who can deny that soundtrack? Because like, I'm just kind of repeating everything what everyone else said because they've all kind of covered what I want to say. So I'll just stop blabbering and say, yeah, it makes the list.
Sandy, yours and mine votes wouldn't have mattered, but what would you have said?
Yes. All the yeses. it's a great movie, and the music is what makes that movie fantastic. And the characters that are in it, they all played really, really well together. They all had their own part to play. It's a fantastic movie. They took a risk on something, and it worked out for them. So yes, for me.
And it would have been a hell yes as well. There's like, as shown in various other franchises, sometimes it doesn't work if you take a risk, but Marvel found a way to make it work with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So definitely was hard to say no to. But Sandy, you're voting no matter. What's the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, Cody. What should I put down here?
I'm sorry, I have my nostalgia goggles on. I can't actually see clearly of what the movie is.
Sorry.
You're listening. Good.
Then I am absolutely going to be the first person once again to get voted down because I'm going to pick my second favorite character of all time, of any comic, of anything out there, and that is the Incredible Hulk. I love The Incredible Hulk. I think that it is a good story. I think that it was really well done. I thought that the animation, the CGI Hulk, was a lot better than the Ang Lee Hulk. I thought that the Abomination was a decent enemy, even if you take it from before when he was the human, before he was the Beast. He was still a pretty decent villain. I really enjoyed the interactions between the characters, and I thought it was a good introduction to the Hulk into the MCU. So there, you guys can all vote down now.
I'll start off the voting on this. This is an interesting pick, to say the least. I mean, I do agree it's a good movie. I do like it, but I don't think it's top 12, so I'm going to say no and vote to Caleb. Caleb, what do you say to the Incredible Hulk?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. And it's not going to, I don't think, because I like the Incredible Hulk in some aspects. Some of it's kind of cool, I guess. I like the parts in Brazil. It's kind of cool. That end fight's pretty cool. But everything else about the movie is just kind of blah. And I also don't like Ed Norton, like, as a human being, and nor as an actor. So I can't really... he was okay as the Hulk. I'll say that. He was okay. I like Mark Ruffalo much better. Can't stand Liv Tyler. And William Hurt is the best part of the movie, and I'm glad they brought him back. The best part of the movie is the post-credit scene. And that's about it. So I'm voting down the Incredible Hulk. I know that's Ryan Permerson's favorite, but I'm voting that down.
Matt, what do you say to the Incredible Hulk?
Oh, okay. I was surprised you were going to me. Yeah, oh my god, I forgot Liv Tyler was in this. I feel like I just need to say yes based on the fact she was in Armageddon. Just feel like based on that fact. I saw this movie once when it came out. I like the fact that it could be considered a sequel to the Eric Bana one. I kind of wish Eric Bana was in it because I liked his Bruce Banner better than Ed Norton's, but it's just the post-credit scene is really good, but it's just overall, it's just like I forgot Liv Tyler was in this movie, guys. I forgot Liv Tyler was in this movie. So I have to say no. Even though, guys, Liv Tyler is in Armageddon, which is amazing. And that should get a yes on any Rankum list. I don't care what list it is.
Cody, what do you say about the Incredible Hulk?
Oh, I mean, if it would have been nice if he would have actually consulted me and he actually needed help, I would have helped him. But apparently he really did need help. Hell no.
I was telling you. Told
I
you.
don't know why Caleb doesn't like Edward Norton. Maybe he declined a lunch date with him or something. I'm not sure.
It's just the
we
mustache. It's
definitely
just the
know-
mustache,
we
man.
definitely know he's never been in contact with any celebrity at this point. Brooklyn may like it because I think like it maybe have like a dinner scene in it where they cook and stuff, and that's really cool for Brooklyn because I'm pretty sure Avengers, Age of Ultron, because they have or Civil War, they have that Scarlet Witch and Vision cooking scene that will sell it right to #1. But hell no, this movie's
my
bad.
God.
It couldn't even keep Bruce. It doesn't even Mark Ruffalo. It doesn't go anywhere after this because he's no longer in it. I don't like that. I think the movie's fine, but it's definitely not top 12.
And Brooklyn, what do you say about the Incredible Hulk?
So I'm really sorry here. I was mesmerized by Cody's speech and how he focuses all his hate towards me. What's the vote at right now?
It's not going to make it on.
Okay.
It's all
So,
notes.
is the Incredible Hulk my favorite film? No. Is it a middle of the pack? Yes, it is. There are things that I want to see them come. They want to see bring back. I'd love to see the leader. Yes, Cody, I do use my hands. You use them all the time. Oh my God, I can do this. This means I'm really cool.
Frame your head to the wall.
But yeah, I would love to see more about the leader, and I think there are some pretty cool cats in the just the Incredible Hulk world that I would love to see. But I would have just narrowly said no. Sorry, Sandy.
Yeah, I like Garfield too. He said they were cool.
Nothing makes me happier than Cody and Brooklyn being on a stream together.
Also, I don't know who it was, but someone from Multiplex puts in the chat, who is that man with the pedo stash and the state hat?
That's probably Tim or Kane. Anyway,
on that note, I'm going to throw it over to Caleb. What is the first movie you're going to nominate?
Never mind. I'm not gonna nominate that one now after the pedo stash comment. I'm gonna go ahead and nominate one that I didn't necessarily love upon first viewing, but the more and more I go back to it, the better a time I have, and that's Thor Ragnarok. It is such a blast to watch that one because Taika Waititi does such a great job at making like Thor enjoyable, and like I think Korg is one of the best characters that we've like side characters that we've seen so far, and I really loved Taika's sensibility that he brought to kind of parodying the MCU while also still driving the narrative of one of its more prominent characters. And so I'm going to put out Thor Ragnarok and watch Cody's face get disgusted.
I'm going to kick off the voting here. As part of my New Zealand contract, I'm required to vote yes to this. But I would have said yes to it anyway because this is my favourite in the Thor trilogy. I do think it definitely deserves to be on this. Like everything Taika did with the characters, like Chris Hemsworth acting, Korg, like everything in the movie, I really enjoyed. But yeah, Sandy, what do you say to Thor Ragnarok?
It's a yes for me. I loved Thor Ragnarok. I went and saw it twice. I thought the humor in it was great. I thought the character development was fantastic. I thought the interactions between Thor and Loki and Thor and Bruce Banner or the Hulk at the time are funny. I thought Jeff Goldblum was great in it as well. Tessa Thompson can't be discounted in this movie either. She puts on a phenomenal performance. The movie's just fun throughout the whole thing. That's what I love about going to movies is if I walk out and I had fun. So for me, this is a yes on the list.
And Matt, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
What do I say about Thor Ragnarok? Do you guys remember HD DVD? It came out a little bit before Blu-ray, but it was kind of like a VHS Betamax thing. I just whatever happened to it? I remember it just kind of came and went. It's really weird. You guys know? Do you guys remember subscription cards and mag? Still haven't seen Thor Ragnarok. So go to something else.
Cody, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it has an old song in it, so I don't know if I don't like it because of that or not. But I think it's really good. And what a lot of people say that the problem with the MCU is it's got a bad villain. The villains are not strong, but Hela is freaking badass. I don't like what they do in Infinity War, where they pretty much just erase what happened in Thor Ragnarok for a change. But other than that, I really enjoy this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It is the best Thor movie, and I think it's well up in the top. They did a really good job with that. No cooking though.
And Brooklyn, even though your vote's not going to matter because it's going to make the list, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
So here's one of my hot takes of the MCU. I can't talk right now, but anyways,
obviously.
Well, thank you, Cody, for pointing that out. I dislike Thor Ragnarok the more I watch it. I find the humor cuts a lot of the seriousness, and it's like a really good action movie, but the humor is excessive and can be overpowering at times. So while I do think it is an enjoyable film and it has some great usage of great Led Zeppelin tracks, I would say a very, very low yes.
Like doing a jump high five? What the hell's a low yes? It's either yes or no. We don't rank these things as like a low. Like it's either yes, no, or haven't seen it.
God.
You can't put. I'm gonna squeak in there 1/8 no. Like freaking just pull up your pants and say yes or no.
Anyway, Matt, what you're the last one to bring up a movie. What one are you going to bring up for this round?
Good. I'm gonna bring up Captain America: Civil War. This is my favorite of the trilogy. This was after the Avengers and Age of Ultron. This was the first of like crossovers with characters that weren't just the Avengers. But I like the fact that it is a Captain America movie still. Like, it's still, the focus is on Steve, where it should be. It doesn't feel like an Avengers 2.0. It feels like a Captain America movie that the Avengers are a part of. And when you get to the end of the movie, that battle between Iron Man and Captain America, it's been building so much since the first Avengers movie. And I love the fact that it still hasn't been paid off yet. In Infinity War, we have to wait for the next one. But it's a movie that I find myself revisiting a lot. So Captain America's Civil War is mine.
Captain America Civil War is on the table. Brooklyn, what do you say about Civil War?
Now, before my whatever it is over there depicts my love of this film because
I'm the dad.
Depicts my love of this film because of the cooking. They actually get it wrong. Paprikash has a fuck ton of paprika, not a little paprika. So get that part right. First of all, second of all,
Malcolm, I'm gonna effing lose it. I'm gonna effing lose that script.
At least I have time to give my full attention to the show, not just like stick a phone to my ear. But I fucking love this film.
Every time you talk, I have to block you out because I will say bad, awful.
Oh my God.
So then just don't be on the show. But yeah, I really love this film. It really flips and flops between like who is right and who is wrong. And yes, people are gonna sort of shit on Daniel Bruhl's performance in that, and his character's kind of lackluster. But I find him as more of a secondary villain that just sort of pushes the plot. But yeah, I love this film, and I go back to it quite frequently.
Cody, what do you say about Civil War?
Well, this movie has 3 great scenes in it. The rest is a lot of exposition and blah, blah, blah. this is the weakest of the Captain America trilogy for me. Yes, everybody gets hung up on that airport scene. Woo! What a ride that was! But then we got freaking Scarlet Witch and Vision making food, and Cap and Scarlett Johansson, and everybody throwing punches that can't even fight. And then it just breaks down where this great plan to bring everybody into this room where we already killed the winners, all the other 5 winter soldiers, where Tony, Cap, Iron Man, and Bucky could take them on. No, we're going to kill them and let them watch a VHS tape of the night that Iron Man's parents died. This movie is overhyped and people like it way too much. I like it that they gave us Black Panther in it. I like that it has Spider-Man, but like overall the movie does not hold up full. It's not a Captain America movie at all. It's it's a Tony Stark versus Bucky, and Cap's just there to be there. I'm not a fan. I would give it a no.
Tell us how you really feel, Cody.
What? So it's 1-1 at the moment. Caleb, what do you say about Civil War?
A weird thing happened where like this movie came out and everyone loved it for like a month, 2 months, and then there was this weird backlash, and then the backlash went against the people who were like against it. I don't know. It was like a weird thing that happened in 2016. I remember it was a wild ride. But I liked this movie. I like the conflict between Cap and Iron Man. It's a better Avengers 2. And yeah, it does give Cap like a little bit of story, but I will kind of agree with Cody in the fact that it's not really a Captain America movie fully. It's an Avengers movie with Captain America in the title. And that doesn't really bother me though, because after the disappointing Age of Ultron, Civil War kind of gave me a better Avengers 2 while still giving me a good movie to end Captain America's trilogy on. Yeah, and that movie, the Civil War, literally sets up a lot of things for Phase 3 that get paid off in other movies. Like Everett Ross is introduced in this movie, and then he shows up in Black Panther, and he's great. This sets up Spider-Man Homecoming, which is one that will probably get brought up soon. Like, there's so much to this movie that I enjoy. More so now after seeing a lot of the rest of Phase 3. And yeah, I'm going to give it a yeah.
Sandy, what do you say about Civil War?
Don't get me wrong, I really like this movie. But if I'm going to nominate a Captain America movie, it's not going to be this one. I don't agree because I am a fan of Age of Ultron. I don't believe it's a better movie than Avengers: Age of Ultron. I think that it's its own little thing. But for me, I have to give it a no, just because I don't think it's the strongest of the trilogy.
So it's down on me to break the tie. For me, it's a yes. Like, despite what everyone said about it, I enjoy this a lot out of the Captain America ones. This is definitely one of my favorite MCU movies, and it's just fun to watch. But yeah, and with that, Civil War does make the list. Brooklyn, what are you going to bring up next?
First of all, Sandy, I can't believe you compared Civil War to Age of Ultron. I mean...
I didn't.
Okay. He didn't. Caleb did.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I said Civil War was better than Age of Ultron.
And I said that I actually like Age of Ultron, so...
Oh, okay. All right. That's a whole other conversation. But anyways, sorry. So the next film that I'm going to nominate is Black Panther. This does a lot of good things. In a tech heavy world that is Wakanda, they do a lot of like the sort of like traditionalist things, right? Where it's just like, oh, we have all the technology, but we're we're applying all these royalty issues with like hand-to-hand combat, and like we're keeping these traditions in place because they do great things. Am I the biggest fan of the villain? Not at all. Am I a fan of the third act? Not really, but that's just me. A lot of people like this, so I am voting for the people. A lot of people like Black Panther more so than I do, but I think it is a middling film in the list, which needs to be on here. So we'll try for Black Panther and see how it goes.
Cody, Black Panther is on the list. What do you say?
Let's talk about the politician in the room. Brooklyn, no one cares, and no one would vote for you. I have to give this a no vote. Yeah, I think it's great. I do. I like the movie a lot. But it's the freaking Lion King. So on that stasis alone, King gets thrown to office thing and has to battle back
because Lion King is such an original film, right? It's not based off of anything, right? It's its own original thing. It's not based off of fucking Shakespeare. It's not a rip off of Shakespeare, right?
You can't even read Hamlet because you can't even say late night with take 3. So shut your mouth for a second, okay?
Whoa!
You get confused by just simple sentences. I'm saying this basically Disney just used it to rip it off to make it that. I think it's great. I think Killmonger and I think Black Panther. I think that story is great. But the overall, it's tech. It's cool. It's an origin story. I just don't find it that rewatchable. I think it did a great thing for what it did. Again, there's no telling about the dominance of the box office, the great rapport, but I don't think it's Best Picture of the year, and I don't think it's the greatest MCU movie. I think it's barely middle, and I think it just came out. These other movies had a long time to marinate and probably get better over time. Black Panther doesn't. It's not one that I want to pop in all the time because I think there's better origin stories in the MCU. So I have to give it a no vote based on that. I have no disrespect to anybody that loves this movie. I get it, but I'm not the person that just wants to win votes and make everybody else happy because I'm on the show and it's my personal top 12. So no.
Matt, what do you say about Black Panther?
I agree a lot with what Cody said. I think this is just listen. What it has done culturally is amazing. I'm happy that this movie came out and did what it did, and the box office can't go unnoticed. But looking at it subjectively on a top 12 rankum of the MCU, it's an origin story. They do the thing I hate in a lot of origin stories, which is they've killed off Black Panther. I wonder if he's gonna come back. Like, no shit, he's gonna come back. I thought Killmonger was amazing. I think he's one of the best MCU villains. I like the two Tolkien white guys. See what I did there?
Joke was made 6 months ago. Good job.
Oh my God, Caleb, calm down because I have a different opinion. But yeah, overall, this is just it's out of the origin stories in the MCU. This is definitely one of the lower tier ones, so it's a no for me.
Caleb, what do you say about Black Panther?
Okay. Sorry. I hate that people are like, this is not an origin story. This is a sequel. His origin is in Captain America's Civil War. That's his origin story. That's where he becomes the hero. That's when he dons the Black Panther suit for the first time. That's when he realizes his moral of being a hero. He's already Black Panther when the movie starts. This is a sequel for his arc. The thing is, this is a better James Bond movie than most James Bond movies. He is fantastic throughout the movie. The entire story. The entire story of Black Panther is rewatchable. It's well done, and you're all racist for voting against it. That was mandated by Cade. That was mandated by Cade. Okay,
yeah,
I like this movie. I like this movie a lot.
To pull it on the list, but I'm telling you right now, regardless what you say, origin or not, they literally dove into it. Civil War was a blink in the radar. This was his start. His
entire arc in Civil War is an origin. His entire arc is an origin.
No, it's not. It's not even that much time.
It's how he became the hero. The entire Civil War is how he became a hero and why he's Black Panther. Black Panther is about Black Panther saving his country this time. That's the difference. However, I like Black Panther. It's number 8 on my list. I'm going to give it a yes. Doesn't make the list. I'm not heartbroken.
Yeah, so don't be racist. Yeah, go ahead.
Fight.
That's literally just what Kane texted me and told me to say. I don't care.
Anyway, Sandy, what do you say about Black Panther?
I don't.
All right.
Your opinion means nothing.
I'm just going to say this. Black Panther or T'Challa was not. This was not the first time T'Challa was Black Panther in Civil War. If you see the last person who was Black Panther, it was his dad, who was old and a bit fat, would not have been able to fit into the suit. So T'Challa had been Black Panther for a while. He'd already eaten the green or the heart-shaped herb, so he was already there doing Black Panther. So it was not a true origin story in Captain America: Civil War. But we also didn't get an origin story in Black Panther either. I just rewatched this one with my wife. She hadn't seen it before. I like this movie a lot. I think that it is on its own merits a decent movie. I think Killmonger alone is worth an opportunity at this list. So I vote yes.
And it's down to me to be the tiebreaker again. But
thing.
I'm doing this on purpose.
Oh yeah. No, I figured that much. But I mean, in a sense, like, even though this isn't like a typical origin story, but like in a way, it does show the origin of the villain, so it is kind of an origin story, even though it's not kind of in the sense. It's one of those ones which just like another movie which is probably going to come up at some stage, it's not a typical origin story, but it does do the origin-y stuff. So but anyway, I'm gonna say yes on Black Panther as well. I do enjoy this movie, so with that, Black Panther does make the list.
I think most movies in the MCU we enjoy. Just saying. No,
Cody. That I said it for the memes. It's okay. Kane messaged me and said, "Do it and see what happens." So I hate that argument. So it's okay.
If you go to
Cody, you're not the only one that's getting coaching. You're not the only one that's getting coaching on this.
I don't need coaching.
I have Coach McMillan in my ear.
I'm sorry.
Ian.
Who would be coaching him? Rob? You don't think Rob would have said no to that?
Too cool.
Anyway, it's back to me, and I'm kind of surprised it took us few nominations to get to this one. I'm going to nominate the first Avengers movie. This is the one that showed how a team-up movie that actually works on the big screen. X-Men did start it off. This is the first time in which they were actually building to over the first 4 years of the MCU. The movie is great. Like, using Loki as the first villain was good for the Avengers movie, and it worked. I mean, yes, Hawkeye was sort of shoved aside a little bit, was the villain for most of the movie, but I mean, it's one of those ones like not a lot of people do care about Hawkeye in the comics anyway. He's one of those characters which sometimes gets some attention, but sometimes doesn't. But that aside, the Avengers movie definitely has to be on here. Sandy, what do you say about the Avengers movie?
I say yes. This literally was the first movie where we are all told, and we read all the news about comic books and stuff like that, and oh my god, having this many people, these many famous people together, it's going to cost so much. It'll be, and that's not what happened. Everybody came together, and this movie made a butt ton of money, and it showed the entire comic book community that you can do these big movies with a lot of people that are famous in it and still have it be successful. And it's just an absolute rush to watch this movie. To this day, Alan Silvestri's score still just absolutely gets me. It's the first thing that I listen to, first thing that I hear that I love, and it still gives me chills when I see it. So it's a yes for me.
Caleb, what do you say about the Avengers movie?
I like this movie. The first time I watched it in theaters, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. Upon rewatchings, it doesn't hold up as well as it did the first time. The story itself is a little It leaves a little bit to be desired. There are some great moments in the movie. Loki being the villain is actually comic accurate to their Avengers #1 issue. So that's why I love Loki in there. Tom Hiddleston was great. I'm going to say no. Just because, should maybe just to be different, but I'm going to say no just to see what others say. But I don't know. I don't think the story holds up as well as it used to, but I do like this movie.
Matt, the Avengers is on the table. What do you say?
This movie is fantastic. Honestly, I don't think this is a movie that's so much about the story, and it's more so about the character interactions is the thing that drives it. Because the one thing I really do like about Phase 1 of the MCU is that all of the characters' arcs were done in their own films leading up to this, so we didn't have to spend time setting them up. They were already set up. And I just love all the little moments in this, like the he is still my brother. He killed 20,000 people. He was adopted. There's great little moments like that. And the beginnings of, right off in the first one, Cap and Iron Man just going at it is fantastic. And that end fight, I love to watch all the time. So, yeah, this is on my top 12. So this is a yes.
Cody, what do you say to the first Avengers movie?
I like this movie. I think it's a good movie. Sorry, I'll stop being Caleb for a second. I hate the whole thing that it doesn't hold up as much as it used to. Well, guess what? My grandma doesn't hold up for the past 20 years either. But guess what? I still love her. I still enjoy talking to her. Avengers is still a fun movie. Avengers is a great movie. It's the people that say it doesn't, like this and this and this. It's your opinion, but you put Black Panther on the list, and I'm saying I guess you have more fun with Black Panther than you do Avengers, and that's just mind blowing. The quips back and forth with each other are fantastic. Loki is a perfect villain, especially when he's at his full evil. It's so quotable. It's that scene in New York when Hulk. I know I didn't even ruin it, but when Hulk says, "You want to know my secret? I'm always angry," and just goes that's just a moment you stay in the theater. You're like, yes. Plus, that's I'm pretty sure I could be Bruce Banner at any point, minus the smarts, more of the anger. But yeah, I absolutely like this movie a lot. I enjoy it. It has some. That score was a little bit ago, so it may be nostalgia, but I'd give it a yes.
I miss Cody so much.
Talking about the score, Brooklyn. What do you say about the Avengers?
Cody, they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So you imitating Caleb really means that you do flatter us, Mr. Coho.
I like him more than I like you. Dumbass.
That's good. Okay, awesome.
I'll take it.
So, much like a smoked meat sandwich, this has the right amount of cheese for this to work. A lot of people forget this is also Mark Ruffalo's debut in the MCU, and he is one of my favorite parts in the movie. I'm completely sold by him as both Bruce Banner and the Hulk. He has a great sort of like smartashes sort of tone that I think has carried out well throughout the films. So I am going to say yes.
It also has a great post-credit scene when they're eating at a restaurant. So
yes, the great
That
shawarma.
was shot the night of the premiere.
There it is. There's number 3. Cool.
Anyway, Sandy, can you get a movie on the list?
No. Cody, what should I do this time? Right?
Well, do 7 steps ahead of what you did last time, and you'll be in good shape.
All right, I'm gonna nominate my favorite movie out of the Captain America series, and I am going to nominate Captain America: Winter Soldier. It is damn near a perfect movie. It is it's a heist movie, it's a mystery movie, it's a spy movie, it's all of those things. Plus, it's a superhero movie. The relationship that we find that we get from Steve and from Scarlet Witch is so good. The twists and turns that this movie goes on is they're so great. Robert Redford, is awesome in this movie. Everybody really plays their part. We get the introduction of Falcon. It's still one of my favorite things to watch is when they're running and he's running around the Washington Monument and it's like on your left, a couple seconds later on your left. And then you see poor Falcon laying out on the ground, and he's just like, he says, "Hey, go take another lap. Did you already?" That kind of banter back and forth was really, really fun for me. So I vote for Captain America: Winter Soldier, and also it's the Russo brothers' first foray into the MCU, and we all know what they did next. So,
I'm gonna start with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, what do you say to the Winter Soldier?
Yes. This is a really good film. Other than Aaron Zola, I'm not like that's probably the one weak point for making it like a perfect movie. But yeah, great action, great dialogue. It's this political thriller that we didn't know that we wanted. And because I think from like watching the trailers, it's like, oh, this is gonna be Cap versus Bucky Barnes because like they revealed that he's Bucky in the trailer. And it exceeded expectations immensely. So I'm going to say yes.
Cody, what do you say about the Winter Soldier?
I'm just thankful we got through a nomination without any damn food references. And I would do an imitation, but I really don't like him. So, Sandy, congratulations. You picked a good movie, a really good movie. I'm surprised it took this long to get to this movie. This movie really, I started at the theater in 2014. This is one of the first movies I saw, and it literally blew me away. It's a perfect spy movie. It's the best Captain America movie. And it's sad that the third one got on before this one, but that's neither here nor there. I agree. Just the little references is Cap. Cap's not always my favorite superhero because he's a little bland for most part. I think he gets more of his heart and more of his determination the more he has to deal with Bucky. And me and my client will agree that this introduces Bucky, which is probably the most damaged MCU character in the movies because he's literally brainwashed and has to do what people tell him. So I absolutely love this movie. It definitely makes the list. Like a good roast beef sandwich.
Good job, Cody. Good job.
Matt, what do you say about the Winter Soldier?
I really enjoy this movie. It is, however, out of the trilogy, I like the other two just a little bit more. I just go back to the other two more. That's what it comes down to. I still really love this movie. Robert Redford is one of my favorite MCU villains. I just mostly just because it's Robert Redford and he's doing amazing. I like how this film definitely took the thing of finally, even though they do play with a little bit, it's Cap's whole thing is not just, oh, I'm a man out of time. Oh, I got that reference. We do make jokes like the list at the beginning, but for the most part, it's him really sort of dealing with this whole idea of S.H.I.E.L.D. that he thought it was this thing that stood for good, like him actually doesn't, and that he has to fight against it. I really enjoyed it, and I also thought for a Captain America movie to go that route with his sequel was unexpected, but I'm happy that they did it like that. So yeah, this gets a yes for me.
And with that, the Winter Soldier does make the list. Caleb, what would you have said?
I rewatched this movie specifically for Rankum today because I wanted to refresh it in my brain to see how much like it held up for me, or how much I liked it, or how much my opinion had changed on it. And I still love this movie. I forgot how dark this movie is. It's probably now that Infinity War is out and they literally kill half the people, the darkest MCU movie. There's a lot of great moments in there. I want to call out Gary Shandling, who they brought back from Iron Man 2. He was actually pretty good in Iron Man 2. He has that great cameo in this movie, and I loved it. Yeah.
Hydra.
Yeah. Great twist.
I actually, as much as I do like Winter Soldier, I actually would have said no to it. I like the other two more. I mean, it's one of those ones like I enjoy. It's just sort of goes there past for me. But anyway, it's still. It still made the list. And
Bohemian Rhapsody again, all over again.
Oh, what the heck?
He's going to have that on his whiteboard for like literally the entire match until it's actually won.
Just because you nominated it, if Matt would have made it, it would have been
I know.
higher.
I know.
Anyway, Cody, what are you going to bring up next?
Oh, it's my turn? Fantastic. One, two, skip a few. I'm going to just do it because I'm going to. I am nominating Spider-Man Homecoming. I love Spider-Man Homecoming. I love Spider-Man. That's no joke. Like if this was in Marvel, most X-Men would probably pop up because they're what click for me. They're the only comics I have ever read. Tom Holland is my Spider-Man and my Peter Parker. I don't care what other people say. As much as I love the Raimi, I love what they did. They brought him into a high school level that you could honestly believe Tom Holland. And they have different... It's like a father-son without Uncle Ben with Tony Stark, which... he just wants him to realize what he is without his suit before it's a great story of seeing where he goes. I think it's got one of the stronger villains in it, because when Michael Keaton turns around in that car and goes, "If you don't stop, I'll kill everybody you love." Like, you're like, whoa! That's why Keaton is one of the best villains. Like, that voice is so creepy. He played the hero for so long, but now he's a perfect villain. I agree, the last act, like the battle, but I think that's a lot of superhero movies. They fall short because they start so strong, and then they have to conclude it, and it sometimes doesn't hit the mark. But I think this movie is a great superhero. I think it is probably top 3 of the Spider-Man movies that have been released. So that's what my nomination is.
I'll go first in the voting, and it's definitely a yes for me. Spider-Man Homecoming is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. It's definitely up there in MCU. And I mean, it's well, Tom Holland is definitely the definitive Spider-Man, because like he's great as both halves combined. Like with Tobey Maguire, I preferred his Peter Parker side. I didn't quite like him as Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield was the other way around. I liked Garfield as Spider-Man, but Garfield as Peter Parker I didn't enjoy. Tom Holland was the perfect combination of the both. Sandy, what do you say about Spider-Man Homecoming?
I really enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. And I'm not gonna really give my opinion on what other Spider-Man movie I like a little bit more, because it's not an MCU movie. So I vote yes for this one because in an MCU movie list, if you don't have a Spider-Man movie on it, you are doing things wrong. This movie is great. It has everything that you need in it. Tom Holland is a good Peter Parker. As a Spider-Man, he's just fine. But what really pushed this one over the edge for me is Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is fantastic in this movie. He's not even evil. He's just intent. And there's a big difference. He's not like a typical bad guy. He's just very intent on keeping his family in the form that they wanted it to. And so you feel for him as well. And I think that's what happens at the end when Spider-Man saves him, because he knows that he's just trying to protect his family and then provide for his family. So I get that. So for me, it's yes.
Caleb, I think I know what you're going to say, but let's hear it.
Okay, so as being by far the youngest person on the panel, when this movie came out, I was still in high school. And when I saw Peter Parker in that high school setting, I was actually pretty blown away by how accurate their depiction of high school was, especially like Flash Thompson. Like those bullies, that's how bullying is in the 21st century. It's just dumb comments and social media. And that's basically how bullying works now. Tom Holland is outstanding. Michael Keaton was amazing. The story is probably one of my favorites. It's number 4 on my top 10 of the MCU list. I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel superhero. And this is the best Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. And with that, I think almost all of my top 10 has made the top 12. So I'm happy.
Like, we know you're the youngest, but like it just came out last year. Like, you don't like have to like I was still in high school. Like last year I was in high. Like, we get it, but like
this came out last year, didn't it? I'm sorry, I forgot this came out last year.
Anyway, with that
high school. But...
anyway, with that, Spider-Man: Homecoming makes the list. Matt, what would you have said?
I forgot this came out last
year. Would have said no. I love Keenan as Vulture, but overall, as a Spider-Man fan, this movie, I'm not a Tom Holland fan. I'm not a Marissa Tomei, Aunt May fan. And it's interesting, Cody, that you mentioned Uncle Ben, considering that the MCU films have not. It just didn't do it for me. Good. It just didn't. You don't have to show him dying. Okay. We can have this conversation later, but all I'm saying is you don't have to show Uncle Ben dying to still talk about the impact that death has on the character.
Except that they did.
Really?
They did. It completely informs Peter Parker throughout the entire movie.
Civil War again, we'll talk. I don't like this movie at all, except for Keaton. Keaton's a great film, but overall, he didn't do it for me.
Anyway, Brooklyn, what would you have said on Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I really like this movie. But the one part that I don't like is the one part that Caleb actually likes is the high school aspect. I didn't like Flash Thompson. I didn't like Ned at all. I thought MJ, or whatever her name is, was a hipster just to be a hipster. She had no motive to be a hipster. But other than that, every other aspect of it, like Friday, Vulture, Spider-Man himself, he's not the greatest Peter Parker, but he's a good happy medium. But I would have said yes, while Cody makes weird faces at every
class. I would have bought in because they would have made tiramisu and bacon cakes. Good lord!
That's just how high school is now. Sorry, that's just what it has become. Maybe you don't like what it's become, but that was very accurate.
Anyway, Caleb, it's back to you. What's the next movie you're going to nominate?
Cool. So now I think we've covered basically all of the clear-cut, definitive, like these are the ones that should be on the list. And this is where we all start bringing out personal favorites and hot takes. And I'm going to throw out, I'm not going to nominate my number 10 because I want to see how my number 11 does. And that is Iron Man 3. I didn't like Iron Man 3 at all the first time I saw it. I thought it was atrocious, thought it butchered one of the best villains of them all. But then I kind of went back and watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And I watched every Shane Black movie that I could see at that time that he'd written or directed. And it kind of informed me of the style that I was going into. And so I saw Iron Man 3 with a fresh perspective. And I appreciate it more upon rewatchings because when you see the kind of style that he has, I appreciate Iron Man 3 for it, and I appreciate the different story beats that they took. I enjoy it. I'm just gonna put that one out there and watch as Cody rips it to shreds.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Iron Man 3?
Okay, so we got Inky Dinky Doink Doinkly Doinkette, Smurf Smurfette, Cody, and not as exciting Cody, which is this is the Cody that we have right now. I'm gonna say no, and I guess the big highlight as to why I'm gonna say no is they ruined what could have been one of the better villains, like into like Phase 4 or Phase 5. In the comics, Iron Patriot is Norman Osborn, who leads the Dark Avengers, and they wasted that with War Machine, Rhodey. So yeah, I'm gonna say no, with that being the highlight of my reasoning.
Cody, what do you say about Iron Man 3?
Like, I get it. We're at a certain point. You have to go with personal favorite. But this is your personal favorite? Oh my gosh. I love Shane Black as a director, but this movie is awful. Like, I like Tony Stark, but PTSD Tony Stark, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I like those scenes with him and the kid because they're like, give me a sandwich, blah, blah. Those are funny. But, like, they ruin the villains. The villains are not that intimidating whatsoever. I like that Brooklyn was like, do I vote? Do I not? Like, there are better MCU movies out there that we just haven't brought up. The third Iron Man is definitely not one of them for me. So, hell no. I'd put Incredible Hulk over this movie.
Matt, what do you say about Iron Man 3?
I really like this movie. However, with only 3 spots left, despite how much I like this movie, it's on my personal top 10 list, but it doesn't make an overall top 12 list. Just this late in the game, maybe if this came up earlier, it's a discussion, but I have to say no.
Sandy, what do you say about Iron Man 3?
I'm not a big fan of this movie. I'm not at all. I've watched it multiple times to see if I could like it. I echo the statements of almost everybody who said this. It's a good Shane Black movie because I do enjoy Shane Black and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my favorite movies. But this is not a Shane Black universe. This is the MCU universe. So they tried with the humor and it fell flat for me. I didn't think it was very funny through when it was supposed to be. I thought it should have been more serious and taken more seriously than it was. And I'm sorry, but the end of the movie really bugs me. I hated the music at the end. During the credits, I couldn't stand it. So it just bothers me that way. So it's a no for me.
And with that, Iron Man 3 doesn't make the list. I also would have said no. It's my second favorite of the Iron Man trilogy. But yeah, so Matt, what are you going to bring up next?
I'm going to bring up one of my favorite MCU films, which is Ant-Man, first one. This movie is one of the ones I go back to all the time. I love the characters. I love the fact that it's a really different MCU film because it's not really a superhero film. It's a heist film. And it's one of the funnier MCU films. Like, Michael Pena is hilarious. Paul Rudd is great. And it's a fun movie. Like, I just like, especially when we get to like the Infinity Wars and the Civil Wars where like the MCU could get really dark. It's nice to have a movie like this that's just like, it's a lot of fun. And I know it's probably going to get a no from everyone, but Ant-Man is my pick.
I'm going to give Ant-Man a yes. I really enjoyed this. I also really enjoyed the sequel. But the first one is definitely fun. It's definitely different to the other ones. And I can't wait to see what happens when Ant-Man actually meets all the other Avengers. So, Sandy, what do you say about Ant-Man?
I love that Matt brought this up. This was going to be actually one of the ones that I brought up. I recently rewatched this again, and it is fun. It's a fun movie to go to. It is absolutely a heist movie, more so than it is a superhero movie. I love how they connected, how they chose to connect this with the Ant-Man fighting Falcon. I thought that was a really funny scene, and it was it was poignant, and it was actually, a good part of the movie because it actually had substance to it. It wasn't just thrown in there for whatever. They had to get something, and that was what it was. I love when Marvel does this. I love when the MCU does this, takes a lesser known character and makes them important. It's sort of the same deal that they did with Iron Man, lesser known character, and it blew up all over the place. Ant-Man, not quite the blow up that Iron Man had, but still a really decent movie, and the sequel is actually pretty good too. So I give this one a yes.
Caleb, Ant-Man is on the table. What do you say?
I honestly don't like Ant-Man, the movie. I think it's poorly stitched together, 2-3 different versions of what could be put into one movie. The sequel, I think, is a lot better. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a lot more entertaining and fun because it's one director's sort of vision all the way through, where you could tell like there are parts that were Edgar Wright, but not Edgar Wright directing. And it doesn't feel right to take an Edgar Wright sort of sensibilities of Edgar Wright, but not his sort of style and charisma. Like, I don't know. I wish Edgar Wright had made the movie because I don't like the outcome of what we have of the first Ant-Man, and I like Ant-Man and the Wasp more. So I'm gonna say no.
Cody, what do you say about Ant-Man?
Ant-Man took me by surprise when I watched it in the theater. I really did enjoy this. It loses a little bit over rewatch in the third act, but that's my main problem with most MCU movies. I don't think they always stick the landing. How many spots do we have left?
3.
So this would take. Then there would be 2.
Yeah.
After this will be 2. Yeah.
I'm okay with giving it a spot. I like Ant-Man enough on rewatch. I'm actually not a big fan of the second one as much as I like the first one. So I will say yes.
And Brooklyn, your vote wouldn't have counted, but what do you say?
Yeah.
Well, I was really shocked because most of the people I talked to, like when I said it was one of my favorites, they're like, "Really, you liked Ant-Man?" So I color me shocked.
Anyway, it's back to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, what are you going to bring up next?
Alrighty, this is where I get the audible gasps and the shocks, and how dare you. I'm going to throw up Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And just to piss off Cody Newberry and Cameron Holzen, because I don't put all my eggs into one basket, I'm going to compare this to food, mainly a sandwich. What sandwich is that going to be? The Eggs Benedict. The first act is much so the English muffin of the open face sandwich. It's not the best bread in the world, but it passes. It does what it needs to do. The second half is that great ham, poached egg, and hollandaise sauce, which is, holy shit, this is a really good action movie. Yes, Cameron. I know. God forbid somebody has a passion for food. Yes. This uses the Chain by Fleetwood Mac perfectly. The song flows with the movie, and the second half makes up for the meh first half. So Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my 10 to 12 pick.
Cody, what do you say about Guardians Volume 2?
Hell no. The only part that I really enjoy of this movie is the Ego versus Quill when he's like, I hate to put the cancer in your mom, and he's like, yeah, mama, and goes crazy. Like, that's actually raw emotion. But this is literally, I will compare this to something that's actually known for. So if you go to a comedy club, most places have like a brick wall, It's called Open Mic Night, and that was what Guardians was the entire time. Like, look at me, I can make jokes too, and yuck, 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 look at me. Like Dave Bautista in that movie, Drax was literally in the first one metaphors. It was over his head. He didn't grasp things. Now he knows he knows exactly what's going on in the world, and he wants to be the butt of every joke. And not only him, but you have Mantis making jokes, and Quill making jokes, and Gamora making jokes, and Rocket making jokes, and even Groot makes jokes. Like, there's no serious moment in this entire thing. So then at the end, all of a sudden, it's like, I was your daddy. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Ha ha ha. It's stupid. It didn't live up to the first one. They don't even bring the music back to the point of the first one. They focus on Brandy the entire time. Brandy, you're a fine girl. This is a fine piece of shit movie. No, thank you. Pass it along.
Matt, what do you say about Guardians Volume 2?
Yeah, I knew you were going to make a Kurt Russell joke. This movie gets a yes from me. I'm perfectly fine saying it's my favorite MCU film. It's the one I watch the most.
Because
I don't
Kurt
mind
Russell
the joke.
in it. That's it.
No, actually,
That's
no.
it.
It has nothing to do with that, Cody. It actually has nothing to do with that.
It's not even close to any of the good ones. Then your movie taste is the most confusing in the world.
Okay, that's because I really, honestly, I like 4 MCU films. The rest, I could give a shit if they don't exist. That's really what it comes down to. I like this movie. I like the jokes because the thing I like about it is the characters are supposed to be a dysfunctional family, and you get that in this movie. There are people who are spending way too much time together, kind of like the Take 3 crew a lot, and they get on each other's nerves, and we get fights, and we get jokes, but what really gets me is the end of the movie. I actually, again, I feel really connected, and having to have made a speech like Peter Quill did at the end of that movie, there's just an emotional connection there that the first time I saw it I had, and I just have the whole time through. So,
Caleb, what do you say about Guardians 2?
Phase 3 had this really interesting issue with me where the first time I watched most of the movies in Phase 3, I did not like them. Did not like I liked Spider-Man Homecoming enough. I liked Guardians 2 enough. I liked Thor Ragnarok enough. But it's always been the rewatches of the Phase 3 films that make them better for me. And I like Guardians 2 a little bit. It makes the top 12 for me for a lot of the reasons Matt said. Do I think it's the better soundtrack? No. Do I like the songs on Guardians 2 soundtrack individually a little bit more than the first one? Kind of. But I think the better soundtrack and how it works with the film is the first one. And the ending with Yondu kills me every time. So I'm going to give it a yeah.
Sandy, what do you say about Guardians 2?
I am not a fan of this movie. I'm not. It's not for any one particular reason. It's just that I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 is so high up on my list of MCU movies that unless you completely blew it out of the water as a sequel, it wasn't going to measure up to me. I honestly believe that the best Guardians of the Galaxy sequel is in Infinity War. I absolutely loved Kurt Russell as Ego in this movie. I thought he was a pretty decent bad guy. He did some pretty horrible things. But we also got a little hint of what was to come in Infinity War 2 with Peter's anger. When something very personal to him, happens, he gets very, very angry really fast and causes all kinds of havoc with it. But as a movie in itself, I thought it was very disjointed. I didn't think that they were as closely, knit together as they were by the end of Guardians Volume 1. So for me, I have to give it a no on this one.
So it's down to me as a tiebreaker again. I did like this movie. I did like Kurt Russell's ego. Do I think it's better than the first one? No. But I like it enough. It is in my personal top 12, so I'm going to give it a yes. And with that, Guardians does make the top 12. And it's down back to me. It's probably I'm going to bring up Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a fun movie. This is one that I had enjoyed with, like, when Benedict Cumberbatch was announced. At first, like, I don't know, I didn't think it could work, and he surprised me with as well as Doctor Strange. Scott Derrickson did some great work with the directing. I mean, just like the third act does sort of not work so much, but as Cody will say, it's pretty much a lot of the MCU's the third acts kind of don't work a lot of the time. But yeah, so with that, Doctor Strange is on the table. Brooklyn, what do you say?
I was actually torn between this one and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which one I was going to nominate. But yeah, Doctor Strange gets a yes from me. This movie could have been really, really bad, considering that this was their first adventure into like magic and like different dimensions and stuff. And like, I think they got a lot of things right. Although people give shit for Tilda Swinton being cast as the Ancient One, I thought she was really good, and her relationship with Doctor Strange is really good. The villains, not the greatest of the world. I think they really wasted Dormammu. But I think this is a good 10 to 12 film. It's the one to fill out our list. So I'll say yes.
Cody, what do you say about Doctor Strange?
It really effing doesn't matter anymore. Volume 2 made the list, so sure, it can partner with 11 and 12. So yeah, sure, we'll give it a yes. So.
Matt, what do you say about Doctor Strange?
I really enjoy this movie. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm gonna say no. There's other films that I think could take. Is this the last spot we're fighting for, right?
This is the last spot, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's other movies that I think could take the last spot.
Caleb, what do you say about Doctor Strange?
Well, I like this movie quite a bit. I'm also gonna say no because I think there's one other movie I'd rather have on here over Doctor Strange. And I'm gonna see if that one comes up and take my chances. So yeah.
Sandy, you're the tiebreaker this time. What do you say about Doctor Strange?
Man, Doctor Strange is going to be one of the ones that I brought up. Yeah, you know what? It takes a lot of balls to do what they did with Doctor Strange. I know that they could have, but I mean, it's the MCU has an issue with taking very, very big villains, like gigantic villains, and just doing nothing with them when they could have done something better with them. But just like the visual effects alone in this movie was such a risk for them to take. Once again, a character that's not as well known as some of the other more popular characters, but they made it work. For me, and there were, even though it was a pretty, dour movie, there was still some really lighthearted moments in it that I really appreciated. So I'm going to give this one a yes as well.
And with that, Doctor Strange is the last one to make the list. Just to recap what we've got Iron Man, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy 4 Ragnarok, Civil War, Black Panther, The Avengers, The Winter Soldier, Spider-Man Homecoming, Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Doctor Strange. Now we get to the fun part where we write down what we think should be at number 12 and rank them that way. Hopefully we don't have a tie.
But we do have a very talkative chat, so at least
Yeah.
there's that.
There's that.
Could be worse. It could be one of the random episodes where there's not a lot of people yet.
Brooklyn, what do you have at 12?
Doctor Strange.
Cody,
Volume 2.
Matt,
Doctor Strange.
Caleb,
Ant-Man.
Sandy,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
The good part of Canada.
and I had Iron Man.
Oh,
So Caleb,
Caleb and you have to
Ant-Man,
change vote.
yeah, Doctor Strange or
Guardians 2?
Volume 2. Yeah.
I'll go Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, I mean, just so we don't end up for another time, I'm going to go Guardians 2 as well.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Shouldn't even make a list.
That's how I feel about Ant-Man.
Right,
No.
I'll
change
kick
my
it. I'll kick it off this time. Iron Man. Sandy,
Black Panther.
Caleb,
Ant-Man.
Matt,
Doctor Strange.
Cody,
Ant-Man.
and Brooklyn.
Oh shit, it was on here. Doctor Strange. This time I wrote on the phone because I have no markers at all.
So we've got 2 for Doctor Strange, 2 for Ant-Man.
So you and Sandy.
Yeah. Sandy, Doctor Strange, or Ant-Man? Don't worry about writing it down.
All right, I'll vote for Ant-Man.
I'm actually going to say I don't have a problem with Ant-Man being at number 11.
All right. God.
I literally was reminded of something. Thank you, Sandy.
Anyway, voting for number 10. Brooklyn, what do you have for number 10?
Doctor Strange. I don't know if you can see it.
Cody, what do you have at 10?
Black Panther.
Matt, what do you have at 10?
Black Panther.
Caleb, what do you have at 10?
Doctor Strange.
Sandy, what do you have at 10?
Black Panther.
And I've still got Iron Man.
Which one do you want on number 10 more?
No, Black Panther had 3 votes. Doctor Strange had 2.
Oh, never mind.
So, Malcolm, are you just going to die on that hill? Is that what's going to happen tonight?
Yeah, most likely.
Malcolm Diane Hills? No.
I told you.
Put your head in the oven, Brooklyn.
Well,
Thank
to be
you.
fair, it was Winter Soldier for you. You didn't have it. This is Iron Man. But yeah, I'm sticking with Iron Man for 9. Sandy, what do you have at 9?
Doctor Strange.
Caleb,
Doctor Strange.
Matt,
Look who's back again, Doctor Strange.
Cody,
If I had the time stone, we could reverse this and do this over and over again, but we'll just make it Doctor Strange.
and Brooklyn.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Can I get a recap of what's left?
Yep. So we've got Iron Man, Infinity War, Guardians, Ragnarok, Civil War, The Avengers, The Winter Soldier, and Homecoming. And Brooklyn, what do you want for 8?
Thor Ragnarok.
Cody.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
What?
Matt.
Sorry, this just I don't know what I have
You
Homecoming.
just
as
said
well.
what?
Caleb.
I have Civil War.
Sandy.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
And I've still got Iron Man, but Spider-Man: Homecoming is at 8.
Jeez.
That's accurate for this placing.
That's a little depressing.
It came out last year.
I agree. I agree with Caleb.
That's
No one
quite
cares what
depressing.
you say.
Thank you, Cody. You are
I
a
appreciate
true.
it.
You are a true. You are a true person of the people.
I'm gonna play against type and say thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Music?
I also agree with Caleb on Spider-Man: Homecoming being low.
That's very low.
With what's left?
Yeah, with what's left, it's very low.
Yeah.
Anyway,
My
like
number 4. So.
to no one's surprise, I've still got Iron Man for 7. Sandy.
Malcolm.
That would be Captain America: Civil War.
Caleb.
Civil War.
Matt.
Iron Man.
What the hell?
Cody.
Let's all walk into an airport and see fighting outside. Civil War.
And Brooklyn.
It's still Ragnarok, but Civil War is exponentially too low.
What'd you say?
Civil War is exponentially too low. But then again, that's just my lone humble opinion, Cody. You can now proceed to
Sorry, this isn't a music show. Shut your mouth. Cool.
Anyway,
Right.
Brooklyn, what do you want for 6?
Still Thor Ragnarok. I'm not even typing it out. Thor Ragnarok.
Cody, what do you have for 6?
He's finally put the correct placing. It's Thor Ragnarok.
Matt,
Thor Rad? At least spell it right. Jesus Christ.
I don't
Iron Man.
call it all out. You didn't even type it, you moron.
I've had it there the last 3 times.
Caleb, what do you have? Caleb, what do you have for 6?
This is the exact placement that I have it in my rankings is Iron Man. Number 6.
Sandy, what do you have for 6?
Thor Ragnarok.
Ooh.
The best part of Canada.
And I had Iron Man. So it is a tie between Ragnarok and Iron Man. Chat, what do you say?
The cool guy, I believe, has been voting Thor Ragnarok for the last 3 times as well as me. Cool guy, you get 10. You get 10 Islander points. Those are not redeemable.
He says still angry. Black Panther is only 10, especially since Kearns changed his vote. Multiplex says same, my dudes. No one is voting between the two. Ragnarok is fantastic. So
okay, Kane is definitely running the multiplex page if he said same, my dudes, because that's not Tim.
But are we discounting the cool guy's vote though for Ragnarok?
I think that's you, isn't it?
I mean, he's been saying Ragnarok since number 8.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
Malcolm,
maybe wait for one more person. Yeah.
Malcolm, your show. Cool guy has been.
saying
Ragnarok since 8.
Yeah, I mean,
he's pretty much playing with us.
Also, it's Nico, says Multiplex. I'm not sure if that's a joke or not, but Multiplex says it's
that is
Nico.
a joke.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because Nico doesn't talk like that either.
Go Orga because he has been saying Ragnarok the last. But in saying that Cameron says that apparently Cool Guy hasn't seen Ragnarok, so it's
that's okay. I haven't seen it ever, Cool Guy.
You haven't seen it and it already ranked all the way up there.
I was gonna say it's not as good as Daredevil making it number 3, but
Oh my gosh, that's
it's-
so weird.
Anyway, I've still got Iron Man. Sandy,
I now also have Iron Man.
Caleb,
Sorry, I was still writing down. I have Avengers.
Matt,
Iron Man.
Cody,
Caleb, you really think the team up movie is better than the original origin? It's Iron Man.
and Brooklyn.
I have Iron Man lower than Avengers on my
I
system.
also had the Avengers.
Dumbass.
But it
So
doesn't
the
matter
Avengers is
because
5, or no.
Iron Man is
right?
5.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. Iron Man 6 in my personal rankings.
All right, what do we got? What do we got left?
We have
Avengers,
got,
Soldier.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and Infinity War.
and the Winter Soldier.
Oh shit. Oh, that's fine. I'm cool with that.
No. Hold on.
Brooklyn, what do you want for 4?
The Avengers.
Cody,
The Avengers.
Matt,
Winter Soldier.
Caleb,
The Avengers.
Sandy,
The Avengers.
and I've got the Winter Soldier. But it doesn't matter because the Avengers is at 4. With 4 votes.
So we have Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, and Infinity War, right?
Infinity War.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay because it's choiceless.
And I mean, I'm keeping the Winter Soldier. Sandy,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Matt, Caleb,
Those names are nothing alike. Okay. I have Winter Soldier.
Matt,
Winter Soldier.
Cody,
What's the score? What's the thing? Because I might keep it secret what I put.
they've got 3 Winter Soldiers so far.
Winter Soldier's fine. I'll hold what I have.
And Brooklyn, what do you have?
I'll also hold what I have.
Which says that they didn't have Winter Soldier. So
Correct.
All right, so number 3 is Winter Soldier, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh,
No. There you go.
Couldn't figure this out.
Oh, we've voted for number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Well, I already know what number 1's going to be because everybody's still high. But
such a negative Nancy over there.
no, it's.
Did you not get hugged as a child growing
No,
up?
it's nothing against that. I just know how like when new movies come out, like they hold for a while. Like everybody's like, so it's great. It's great.
Brooklyn, what do you have for number 1?
Infinity War, much to no surprise.
Cody, what do you have for number 1?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Matt, what do you have for number 1?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Caleb, what do you have for number 1?
I have Infinity War, but I'm happy with either one.
Sandy, what do you have for number 1?
Well, I'm sad because Winter Soldier was my number 1, but I will say The Avengers Infinity War.
And yeah, I had Infinity War.
It's not a shock.
Cody, I'm with you. I was like, literally, me and Kristen were on call before this doing something for the summit. And I was like, Infinity War's probably gonna be number 1. She's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "It's good."
It's 100%. There's no questions going into it. I just think it's gonna be funny if they reverse anything. Watch it fall as far as possible can.
But I mean, for me, Avengers Infinity War wasn't automatically my number 1 since I saw it. It actually worked its way up the rankings every time I rewatched it since it's been out. So for me, it wasn't just straight there, but yeah. And with that, that's our MCU ranking at Number 12, we have got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At number 11 is Ant-Man. At 10 is Black Panther. At number 9 is Doctor
A
Strange.
little too loud.
At number 8, we've got Spider-Man Homecoming. At 7, we've got Civil War. At 6, we've got Thor Ragnarok. At 5, we've got Iron Man. At 4, we've got The Avengers. At 3, we've got The Winter Soldier. At 2, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And number 1 is Infinity War. I mean, it's not a bad list. Next week we've got it's going to have an interesting list. And Matt, since you won the Take 3 Anarchy bracket, what is our list going to be next week?
Next week, we're going to be counting down the top 12 Harrison Ford performances. Harrison Ford is my favorite actor of all time. People don't really talk about his acting beyond 2 of his performances, and that's why I thought this would be an awesome way to be able to talk about a lot of great performances he's given. So, yeah, next week, top 12 Harrison Ford performances. Very, very excited to we've already been having discussions amongst Take 3 about it, which just gets me so excited for next week.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree with you. He's like between besides Han Solo and Indiana Jones, a lot of people don't talk about his other performances, which is why I'm glad you picked it, because it would have come up at some stage, but it comes up earlier now. But and also after that, we go into our Christmas month of December, and the one for that won the poll. In the order that they might happen, depends on the guests and stuff. But Christmas movies, Christmas songs, TV specials, and Christmas movie characters are the 4 won the poll, and the 4 is going to be our Christmas month topics. So those are some good topics. And everyone else has got interesting things. Let's hear about them now. Brooklyn, where can people find you online?
Find me on Instagram and Twitter at the real BK10, the number, not the word. You can also find me on T3 Productions, running not one but 2 shows. Jukebox Trivia on Mondays. We do various music trivia debates and countdowns. Be sure to check an episode going up tomorrow as we have our panelist, actually Caleb co-host, taking on Matthew Rosa, and it's going to be a really good music debate in our journey to the crown. And because Americans like to celebrate Thanksgiving 5 weeks too late, we are doing a special Tuesday episode of Late Night with Take 3 because Survivor Series that is happening right now. We are going to be doing a Survivor Series themed episode, so be sure to watch that. Aaron Turner may or may not be available. We'll see.
And Cody, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Take 3. You can find me at Cody Newberry, just that. I don't do any other social media because it's a black hole of death. You can find me Wednesdays to watch along. I'm pretty sure me and Robert will be off this week with Thanksgiving. We all have family stuff to do, so we're just going to push off. I think next week we'll be back and we'll be doing Princess Bride. Then you can find me normally on Thursdays, but now you can find me on Tuesdays when we talk about Survivor Series. So that's going to be awesome. Fridays I help run Full Metal Geek. I pretty much just host, so I don't do anything else over there. But so you can never complain with me about questions, but you can make fun of me for mispronouncing words. And Sundays, now that we're off of Scary Topics, you can find me as the grumpy old man on the corner because I didn't get my way on this one, so I'm kind of pissed off. But it's okay. So you can find me next week on Harrison Ford because that's going to be awesome. Good choice, Matt.
Thank you.
And where can people find you online?
Me? Broke up.
Matt.
Okay. You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovies611 on YouTube. You can find me right here as co-host of Rhyme and Reason with Sandy Robinson. Episode just dropped, part 1 of our Star Wars discussion. We talk about our top 5 characters and lightsaber duels. And next week, we rank the top 10 Star Wars movies. It's really fun. And then probably the week after that, we'll do something Christmas related. And we have something really cool coming to Rhyme and Reason. Not going to say it yet, but it's awesome. And you guys can also find me on Rankum next week talking about my favorite actor, Harrison Ford. And you can find me, of course, on Tuesday with the Survivor Series, considering that Take 3 has turned me into a wrestling fan, thankfully. But in Cody's case, he should be happy that I'm not writing the wrestling questions this week for the debate. So...
Caleb, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Caleb Coho. That is KALEBKOHO. You can also find me on YouTube, Caleb Coho, where I do music, co-productions where I do film. On both channels right now, you can find my movie Chick Part 2, which is out for free for you to watch. What's not free is my album Shoot for Teams with my group The Forks, which you can find on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you consume your digital music. And you can find me on Multiplex Entertainment hosting Fandom Fight every Friday, movie Warzone every Monday, and a new show, Jake Marangoni, that will be coming out on Thursdays, and we'll be announcing that within the next 2-3 weeks. So yeah, get hyped for that. And yeah, that's where you'll find me.
And Sandy, where can people find you online?
Well, thanks for having me here, Malcolm. It was a great time once again. You guys can all find me on Facebook and Twitter at srobinson1799. You can find me all over the leagues, the various leagues, Multiplex, which is awesome, Full Metal Trivia, singles, teams, geek. You'll see me all over the place. And you can find me right here on Take 3 doing a number of different things. I show up all the time on Late Night with Take 3 with Brooklyn. I'm here with Malcolm's, every once in a while for Rankum. But you can always find me every Saturday with Matt Kearns, my partner, my buddy, talking Rhyme and Reason, all the things that you didn't know that you think you should have liked but don't. You know what? That's it. Thanks for having me again.
And you can find me on Take 3 hosting Rankum every week. You can also find me on Full Metal and Multiplex, competing in trivia all over the place. I believe this week I've got a Harry Potter match on Full Metal Random against Hunter Chambers, which is going to be so much fun. And you can also find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Melkor. And until next week, Excelsior.